On today's episode of Southern Character, I'm joined by Chef David Rule, one of East Tennessee's most prominent chefs. David's culinary experience is exceptional and has evolved from his early years at the Dancing Bear Lodge and Blackberry Farm to launching the Walnut Kitchen in Maryville to his latest venture, Mountain Hospitality, which features 3 concepts in historic downtown Sevierville. My friend always tells me I say this wrong. I have a friend, David, from Valdez, North Carolina. You ever been to Valdez, North Carolina?
No, I don't know Valdez.
Every time I say Appalachian, he corrects me. So the Appalachian, is that correct?
What we say here is it doesn't matter how you say it as long as you say it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
no, man, I love it. I love it. So we're here today at the Appalachian.
Appalachian, for sure.
But your other 2 concepts that are also just like located right on this block on Bruce Street. Right? You have Trotter's Whole Hog Barbecue, and then the Pines downtown. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for having me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
And I got to tell you, being here in this space, sitting here at the bar, we're basically looking at a wall of brown water, which I love.
Yeah.
Right?
This is the collection.
It's just the feel of the space. It's dark, the wood, the stone, the brass. I love the feel of this place. But before we dive into each concept, I know we're going to go deep on the Appalachian today, but I'd also love to get some color on your other 2 places.
Sure.
But I'd like to just back up a little bit. And on Southern Character, we talk about getting back to our roots. So I want to get back to David's roots and kind of trace your story a little bit back to the beginning. We don't have to start with the evolution of man, but let's talk about the evolution of David. So you grew up in Maryville?
Yep. Yeah, and just kind of like the Appalachian, you say Maryville, I say Maryville. Maryville, but it's all right. Like, it doesn't matter how you say it. But yeah, born and raised in Maryville. I'm the youngest of 3 boys. My dad worked at the aluminum company, Alcoa, for 37 years. My mom worked in the schools. I started working in restaurants about 3 days after I turned 15.
Wow. Thank you for correcting me on that one.
That's
because
all right.
So my sister moved to Maryville, I don't even know how many years ago. And I was corrected very early on. I remember I came in town. We took my nephews, her sons, to the creek, the creek. And I said something about Maryville, and a nice gentleman at the creek informed me. He's like, "Hey, boy, you're saying that wrong." I was like, "Okay." He said, "Up here we call it Maryville." But you said, pronounce it one more time for me.
Maryville.
Maryville.
It's almost, for me, it's almost like a mare, like the horse. Maryville, Maryville. Vole is kind of rolls off the tongue. A lot of people will put the U in there, but for me, it's more like Marevul.
Okay.
But it's funny. I have a friend. She unfortunately has passed since, but she's from your neck of the woods down in New Orleans.
Oh, really?
She was an excellent one of our beverage reps. She and I would always go back and forth. So when I hear Maryville, it always makes me think of Mary Ann.
Okay.
She was a good friend of mine.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So Dad worked at Alcoa. You said your mom worked for the school system?
Yeah, primarily she worked in the schools, primarily in the front office, just while we were in school.
Okay.
It was a way for her to stay close to us, I guess, and keep busy and also keep our schedule.
Love it. So you're literally, born and raised?
Born and raised. Blount Memorial Hospital. I still live in Blount County, even though, I'm working now in Sevier County, the neighbor of Blount County. Born and raised, East Tennessee, country boy, you might say.
Did you go to Maryville High School?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I graduated from Maryville High School.
The Rebels?
Yeah, that's right.
Did you play football there?
No, I did not. Some of my best friends, actually, one of my best friends, Drew, he lives across the street from me. He still holds the sack record there.
Really?
Yeah, he's defensive end, and but no, I never played.
Okay.
I played basketball when I was young, a little track and field, but like I said, I started working at 15. I never really looked back.
Okay. Because the Maryville football team, the Rebels, that's
huge.
That's legit.
Yeah, I'm a big fan, big supporter. Actually, the big rivalry is Maryville and Alcoa. About 10 years ago, I bought a house and live in Alcoa, and now I have 2 of my 3 children. My youngest isn't in school yet. They go to Alcoa. I haven't graced the maroon of Alcoa yet. If my kids get into a sports team, I might. My wife's originally from Orlando. She's embraced it a little bit more.
She's from Orlando, Florida?
Yeah.
Okay.
She has a Alcoa license plate on the front of her van. But I haven't quite gotten to that sport yet. So I'm very much still a Maryville Rebel and support them. And But we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
So you said your wife's from Orlando. How did you guys meet?
So she moved to Maryville when she was 15. Her dad's in the resort business, still in the resort business. He actually works up here in Gatlinburg. He worked in the resort business in Orlando. Part of the same company had a place here in Gatlinburg, so they moved here, and they moved into Maryville. And I still remember her very first day of school. She started mid-year, and when you get a new student, especially in high school, especially a pretty girl, everyone's interested. So I remember going, she's a year younger than me, we went to the sophomore hall to see the new girl from Florida. And I ended up marrying her a few years later.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So did you guys get married like right out of high school?
No, but we did date in high school. We got married in 2009. We were 23 years old, so relatively young.
Still young.
But not straight out of high school.
So let me go a couple steps back from high school to a little bit of a younger David Rule.
For sure.
When I was trying to do a deeper dive on the interwebs about David Rule, I saw a couple references to, is it Mamaw? Mamaw's influence.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, is that your grandmother or great-grandmother?
That's my grandmother. It's my dad's mom.
Okay. And is she who first, did she introduce you to cooking? Or?
Yeah, I think she's the one that introduced me into like scratch cooking. My earliest memory of cooking was making cinnamon toast in the broiler, like the old school broilers that were like under the oven. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so
totally.
It was just like butter and sugar and cinnamon on bread.
I'm with you.
And toast it. So that's my earliest. But my mamaw and papaw, they had a place at Lake Tansi, which is in Crossville, just up on the plateau. And we'd spend all kinds of time there in the summer. My mamaw she'd cook around the clock. But in particular, the big things that really got me were just the huge breakfast that we would have every morning. I would wake every morning to the smell of sausage frying in the pan and biscuits in the oven. That really kind of brought about my love of cooking and hospitality. I would help her some. And more than us really like cooking together is more about the stories. So she's 93. She's still living.
Really?
She's tough as nails. Grew up on a farm. And I still sit around whenever I get the opportunity and just talk to her about stories of the old days. And they raised pigs and they slaughtered them and they cured them and they canned and they had gardens. And especially as I've gotten older and become a chef and things of that nature, that those memories and those stories from her are extremely valuable to me. And
no, absolutely,
they shape my approach in cooking today.
And when you were talking about the breakfast in particular, I almost immediately was transported to just when you wake up in the morning and you're not quite awake yet and you're just breathing in through your nose. There's something about the way bacon and biscuits can just permeate through a house.
Oh, yeah.
Coffee.
Yeah.
You can smell it from a mile away.
Yeah, but I can remember, we had a big picnic table outside their place. So, it was warm summer, so we'd usually eat out there. But I remember, sausage, gravy, biscuits, big bowl of scrambled eggs. We'd always have sliced tomatoes, sliced cucumbers, cantaloupe. Yeah, just, all kinds of different jams. She was always canning. She still does to this day. So we would have, apple butter, blackberry jam. She makes something called pear honey, which is, she cans it, and it's a pear jam with a lot of honey. So, it was always just this mixed bag and it was always fuel for us for the day because, it was like summer camp for us. Mm-hmm. We had motorcycles down there we were riding, we were swimming, we were fishing. We would just go out in the woods all day and on the lake. And that was like our fuel for the day. So those are some of my best early food memories.
So you said no rebel football for you. You started working in restaurants when you were about 15 years old.
Right.
From there, right, if you started working in restaurants in high school, what type of restaurants? And then from there, did you go to culinary school for a while and then come back? Or did you just start in high school and just kind of go straight through? What was your path?
I enjoyed cooking, but I wasn't even at 15, but I had no aspirations of restaurant or chef. And the way this story goes, this is a true story, is there's a local neighborhood restaurant, Tally's 411 restaurant, that was not far from my house. Right before I turned 15, my mom and I were having lunch there one day, and I was telling her, I want to get a job, and thinking about what should I do. We knew the people that is the Tally family. We went to church with them that owned this restaurant, but we were talking about things, normal 15-year-old jobs, grocery store bag boy. We had a friend that owned dry cleaners. Thought about, going there. there was a cute waitress that walked by the table. And of course, I'm a 14, almost 15-year-old boy. And I was like, I wonder if Mr. Talley would give me a job here. And he did. And I started. And in that role, that's really where I fell in love with the restaurant business. I mean, I did a little bit of everything there. I cooked a little, I washed dishes, I served, I bussed tables, I ran cash register.
So is this like a meet and three kind of place?
Yeah, right. Old school meet and three. And I just fell in love with kind of the camaraderie of the restaurant world. You know, a little rough around the edges, especially in the back of the house.
Sure.
Attracted me to that. But yeah, that's where I kind of first sunk my teeth into the restaurant business and fell in love with it.
And what was the name of the restaurant?
411 restaurant. 411's the highway.
Yep.
That runs down, run almost to Atlanta.
I know the police in Eaton, Tennessee pretty well. They usually stop me so they could say hello.
Yeah.
The speed limit changes on 411.
The Talley family, David Talley in particular, gave my job there. And actually his son, Micah, is a restaurateur himself. He owns a restaurant called Diamond Jack that's in Maryville.
Okay.
Great family. Known them very well and have kept up with them over the years.
And so the original restaurant where you started, is that still operating today? Or no?
It's not. There is a restaurant there. It's actually it's a Mexican restaurant now.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
My parents live out on that end of town, so gone there a few times.
Okay, so from there, do you kind of work your way to dancing there? Or like where do we
Well,
go
it's a long path. I mean, I worked several restaurant jobs. From there, I worked at a restaurant that's out Elko Highway called RJ's Courtyard. And that's actually where I committed myself to restaurant business. So,
okay.
It's around that junior year in high school, 17 or so, the guidance counselors at the school start asking you, like, what are you going to do the rest of your life? And I made the decision to stick with it, and I was very interested. And I had the intent, and it was kind of before it got real popular to go to culinary school. I wanted to go to culinary school. But I wanted to go to a big one. I was looking at French Culinary Institute in New York, Cordon Bleu in Paris. I was looking at San Francisco. I was looking at all these places. And my parents were very, very supportive of the idea. However, my mom was like, you're going to get a business degree first. So that's what I did. I went to Hiwassee College in hospitality management. There was a junior college, and then went to the University of Tennessee. And by the time I was finished with all that, I was well into my career. I was in love with my now wife.
Okay.
My family was here, and I decided to just stay the path of here and went culinary school. But I'll tell you where I got lucky. After working several places, I scored a job at Blackberry Farm in Wallen. And that was really my culinary school. I was exposed to things there that really brought my cooking along and refined my technique. And the bonus was I was getting paid a little bit as opposed to the opposite.
Less.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
When you're finishing up at Tennessee, about how old are you at this point? 21, 22?
Yeah, 21.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then lightning struck in the right place, and you got an opportunity at Blackberry Farm, and you took it. And when you first came into Blackberry Farm, is the butcher or like the apprentice to the butcher? Like, where did you start at Blackberry Farm?
Yeah, so I actually, we'll get into it. I worked at Blackberry twice. Okay. And the second time was kind of by accident. That was as the butcher. But the first time, I was working for Aubrey's Restaurant Group previous to that. Great restaurant. Learned a ton there, and I want to touch on that a little bit. But I wanted to cook a little bit more fine dining. I wanted to cook a little bit more from scratch. So I applied multiple times to Blackberry.
So you wanted that place?
I wanted it. Actually, as a senior in high school, we had a senior transition program in which I was able to go there and job shadow. So we went for several weeks, real early in the morning, into the main house kitchen there. So I had some exposure to it. And then from there, and at that time, it still is, but at that time it was extremely competitive to get in those positions at Blackberry.
I bet.
Yeah. I was up against, guys coming out of CIA at Hyde Park.
People that went to the big culinary schools you were talking about going
to. For sure.
Right.
And so I applied several times, did a couple of interviews, and finally I got a stage opportunity in the same kitchen that I'd done that job shadowing. I met two guys that forever changed my life and my cooking. Josh Feathers, both these guys still there. Josh Feathers, who's the corporate chef, and his sous chef, Steve Ledbetter. Steve knew that I was not refined as a cook, but he saw my speed and the speed that I'd gained from working in places like Aubrey's. And they brought me in and refined me. The biggest influences in my professional career were right there. Travis Stevens is a gentleman who was the kitchen manager of that Aubrey's restaurant in Maryville. Travis is a workhorse. I mean, we're talking 20 years ago. I catered to his wedding last week.
Really?
Yeah, we're still tight.
That's awesome.
And I had the opportunity to yet again thank him for what he instilled in me. And then from the culinary side, Josh and Stevie, J&S as they call them. I mean, these guys are like, I don't know how to describe them, Bert and Ernie. They're like
the inseparable pair.
Yeah, absolutely. That was my refinement and my cooking prowess that I still have a bit of today that they instilled in me.
Yeah, and what an incredible opportunity. So you got the opportunity really because of the shadowing program? I mean, because you kind of knew some people on the inside? Is that what you credited to?
I don't think so. Okay. I think it was just a matter of persistence. Like I continued to interview. I continued to call the HR department. Okay. I'll be honest with you, I took a pay cut to go there. I was well into my career. I had a house. I had a mortgage. I was about to be married. But I knew that's what I wanted. I knew that's what I needed. With aspirations of not only going to culinary school, but, my aspirations were to work in a big city too. I wanted to work in New York, Chicago, San Francisco.
So you wanted to get the experience, sponge it all up at a place like Blackberry under JNS, and then like launch out into like a big city? Is that...
No, the opposite.
Oh, okay.
When I made the decision to stick around East Tennessee, I was like, okay, where can I find what I'm after here? And that's where I could find it. To have the exposure to those ingredients, that level of cooking. There's a couple other great places, but it's definitely the mecca in this region of culinary excellence.
Well, no, sure. I mean, I can't think of, honestly, when I think of Blackberry Farm, and I haven't been yet. Okay, so I have friends that have been. I will go at some point. That's not what we're here to talk about today. But I don't know. And this may be overdoing it, but in my head, I associate it with a place almost like a French Laundry. Out in California.
You should.
In Yunville. Like out in Napa Valley.
Absolutely.
But that's the level that I mean, if anyone here is not familiar with Blackberry Farm, that's the level that we're talking about here.
Yeah, you think about French Laundry on 5,000 acres. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Right.
With one of the largest wine inventories in the country. Mm-hmm. It's an incredible place, and I still have deep connections there. Oh. And mentorships. Actually, the gentleman that's the president there, he's more of a business mentor. I lean on him still to this day.
That's great.
And have a great relationship with him. So,
but you mentioned you were there, you went somewhere else, and then came back. So, what was that story?
Yeah,
what's that story?
What happened? So, I was there for a couple of years, and I guess it was like 08, 09 when financial
crisis. Yeah, a lot of bad things happened in 08.
And I told you I'd had a mortgage, so I actually got a second job at the time. And I went back to work. It was with the Aubrey's Restaurant Group. It was in their fine dining concept. The gentleman, Randy, who owns the Aubrey's Restaurant Group, had just purchased Bistro by the Tracks in Knoxville. So I went there. So I was a breakfast cook at Blackberry. My shift was 4:30 a.m. to 12:30.
Okay.
And then I cooked dinner service at Bistro by the Tracks, 4 to 11. So I slept twice for about 2 hours a day. Yeah.
You were working 19-hour days.
Nuts.
When were you? Okay, so you just slept when you could.
Yeah, barely.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you did what you had to do, right?
Yeah. That kind of worked me back into the Aubrey's Restaurant Group. My time previous, so I kind of went Aubrey's, Blackberry, Aubrey's, Dancing Bear, Blackberry, and we'll get to that. So I worked at Bistro by the Tracks, worked my way up. I was a sauté chef, worked my way up to sous chef, chef de cuisine within Bistro, and then I moved back to the Aubrey side more in a corporate chef role. I did some menu development. We would go and we would open up new locations. Did that for several years and started to get that itch again to cook. Aubrey's has great food, but the burgers and chicken tenders and stuff were just kind of wearing me down. So I'd gotten word that the chef at Dancing Bear Lodge was leaving. He was taking another position. And really just out of curiosity, I called my previous chef at Blackberry, Josh. And I just said, hey, I hear Jeff Carter is leaving Dancing Bear Lodge, which is funny. Jeff's actually the chef at Dancing Bear Lodge again. We can get into that now, currently. But I just said, where's he going? And he told me, and he turned around and said, why are you interested in that position? And I hadn't even considered it. And I said, well, maybe. So I interviewed with the gentleman. His name's Matt Alexander. He's actually the president of Blackberry Farm. At that time, he was the vice president. Mm-hmm. And at that time, Dancing Bear Lodge was the sister company of Blackberry. Right. So I took that position, left Aubrey's, went to Dancing Bear, had huge plans and I was so excited to be cooking again and back at it. Had a small team, but an incredible team there. Guys who have gone on to have great success in East Tennessee as chefs, still to this day. But we were just together for about 7-8 weeks, and Dancing Bear Lodge one day burned to the ground.
I read about the fire. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You just got the job as head chef.
Yeah, and I had left an amazing job. I left a career job, so there was some risk there, and I was very nervous. And with the future of Dancing Bear being kind of up in the air, I needed to work. And it just so happened that at that time, the butcher position at Blackberry was becoming open. There was a gentleman there that had been there for a long time. His name was Michael Sullivan. But I'd spent a bunch of time in that butcher shop with Michael, or Sully as they call him. But they offered me that position. I'll be honest with you, I was scared. I was very nervous, And this is something I like to talk about a lot because Sam Bell, rest in peace, this really encompasses the kind of man that he was, in my opinion. I had a meeting with Sam. And I said, Sam, I appreciate the offer on this job, and I'm very excited. But I want to tell you that I'm nervous. Like, what we did in that butcher shop was old world Italian-style charcuterie. Breaking down whole hogs, dry aging beef, things of that nature. And I just said, I can clean up a beef tenderloin. I can cut steaks out of a ribeye. I can even gut a trout. I was like, but this is something else that I have no idea about. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget, he looked at me. He's like, it's all right, Dave. He said, not a lot of people do. He said, I'm giving you the opportunity to focus and learn. And to me, that was so powerful. And he did that with everybody. He gave them the opportunity to grow and the opportunity to focus and learn. So that's what I did. I mean, I was there for about 10 months by myself in that butcher shop before I finally got an assistant. But 8 hours a day in a 41-degree butcher shop, just kind of teaching myself. I was doing a lot of reading, a lot of searching. I was teaching myself how to tie string onto salami casings. Mm-hmm. The whole other aspect of that was USDA regulation and HACCP plans and things of that nature that I was having to learn. So I learned a tremendous amount, very unexpectedly there. I was ready to kind of show what I had gathered on a cook line. And then I was thrown straight back into learning again. Mm-hmm. And it was awesome. Never take that for granted.
Just give me a timeline. What year is it now where you accepted the butcher position? 2014?
Yeah, I think that's right.
And so you're getting this unique opportunity to really focus.
Right.
And quite frankly, do something you've never done before.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and the understanding that there's opportunities for investment. I mean, I'll be honest with you, and I made this well known. That wasn't my career path. It was a great thing to learn, but I'm an old line cook, dude.
Yeah.
That's where
you like to be on the line.
Yeah, that's my world, and that's what I eventually got back to do. I honestly didn't anticipate opening a restaurant, but that's the next thing that I did.
So, 2017. Obviously, you didn't just. The doors didn't magically open in 2017, but it's from Blackberry Farm. Mm-hmm. Now David Rule comes home to, I'll still say it wrong, Sevierville.
That's quite all right.
But you open the Walnut Kitchen in Maryville, circa 2017. So now, I mean, this is, you're like, I've learned all these things. I'm ready to be set free. I'm coming home.
Yeah.
I'm going to crush this. We're joking around a little bit before. Like, that's actually where I first met you.
Right.
So you opened up the Walnut Kitchen, and you did a chef's table experience there. And my sister, for her birthday, she's like, "Oh, James, they just this great new restaurant just opened. It's this guy from Blackberry Farm. He's amazing." I didn't even know who you were. And we went to your restaurant, and we sat at the chef's table, and you just entertained us all night. I mean, everything that you did in that kitchen had a story. Every ingredient. I mean, there's so much mindfulness and purpose behind everything you did. And if you can't tell already, I'm a huge foodie. Like I'm from New Orleans, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I'm a human garbage can. But I do have a somewhat sophisticated palate. But I was absolutely blown away
I appreciate that.
the first time I experienced, what I would call the full-on David Rule. Because I remember you telling me at Walnut Kitchen, you focused a lot on meat.
Yeah.
And so from there, right, and I'm not trying to just like bypass the Walnut Kitchen, but you opened it in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're sitting here at the Appalachian today.
Right.
So how do you get from the Walnut Kitchen
Yeah.
to mountain hospitality and these three new concepts? Like
Yeah.
you're home in Maryville, why would you leave?
Right. I'll be honest with you. I had an incredible restaurant there. Incredible team, bad partnership. That was my learning experience from that. No disrespect to the gentleman that I was partnered with. It just wasn't.
Sometimes
I've said
people aren't a
I've
good
said
fit.
this several times. Partnership can be a lot like a marriage.
Sure.
Different motivations. So we parted ways. I sold my interest in Walnut Kitchen. Had an opportunity for a short time to open a restaurant downtown Knoxville, and I was working on that, and COVID hit. Kind of threw that out the window.
Sure.
And about that same time, I met my business partner here in Mountain Hospitality Concepts. His name's Austin Williams.
Okay, so you haven't known Austin.
Well, I knew Austin barely. Austin, when he first got out of college, worked in financial planning with my wife. They both worked for Northwestern Mutual.
Really? Okay.
In the Knoxville branch, and so they were co-workers. So I'd met Austin at some of those company gatherings.
Got it. Okay, so like Northwestern's having a
Right.
Christmas party.
Exactly.
And you meet Austin
Yeah,
at Christmas. Like,
just briefly.
hey, man, can I hang out with you?
But that connection's also what brought us back together. Fast forward, Austin, he's now a developer, successful developer, and he is at the forefront of the redevelopment of this historic downtown Sevierville.
Sevierville, which
Right.
is beautiful, by the way.
Yeah,
I love driving in. You got the little river right there. I mean, the mountains just shooting up out of the ground.
Oh, you should have seen it 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, it was a ghost town.
Yeah.
And this is just the beginning. I mean, there's a master plan for downtown that rivals some of the greatest downtowns in the country, in my opinion. I met with Austin. He shared with me his vision. I'll be honest with you, I never pictured myself ever working in Sevierville or in Sevier County. As a kid, we would come up here, we'd go to Dollywood, we'd go up to Pigeon Forge, we'd ride go-karts, go to the arcade, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But, when I started looking into it and I started hearing like some of the statistics, like we're within a block and a half of 14 million visitors that are coming into this town every year.
Right. Tourism's huge here.
Right.
So I've come up here, sister lives here. I've taken my kids to Dollywood.
Mm-hmm.
I've taken my kids to Wilderness at the Smokies because why not? But this is a true story. One of my coworkers, Jeff, and his wife, he was texting me, and I said, hey, what are you doing this week? And he said, I'm going to Sevierville. And you just don't hear that often. And I said, well, what are you going to Sevierville for? And he's like, oh, well, my daughter has a volleyball tournament at the convention center.
Yeah.
And, it's right across the street from Wilderness at the Smokies, so we're going to take the kids. I'm like, oh, man, while you're there, you have to go to the Appalachian.
I appreciate that.
And he's like, what's the Appalachian? So I mentioned foodie. I was like, they have amazing food. The chef's amazing. David Rule's incredible. But we get together every so often, like once a quarter. We go up to the cabin. We call it Cabin Fatty, and we get on the Traeger, and like we just cook.
Right.
And we get cheese and A5 and wine and all these things. And we just cook crazy stuff that we found on like meatchurch.com. Anyway, we get crazy with it. But we always incorporate chicken. And one of our favorite parts of the chicken is the skin. I was like, this guy has an appetizer on his menu that is just fried chicken skins.
Yeah.
But so we can get into that in a minute. But yeah, I'm just saying, like, Sevierville is beautiful, and it's amazing how many people come to this area.
Right.
There's so much going on here. So Austin had kind of tapped into that. I mean,
yeah, and like I said, he shared that vision with me. And kind of jumping back, part of the very few things that I both liked and disliked about working at Blackberry Farm was that I wasn't feeding any locals.
okay.
Right?
Yep.
It was awesome to have people from all over the country, all over the world coming there and showing them what East Tennessee's all about. But,
Right.
I miss that local flair. And then you fast forward to Walnut Kitchen, it was all locals for the most part.
Right.
What I have here in Sevierville kind of scratches both of those itches, right?
That's great. Yeah.
I get people from all over the country, all over the world, but I also can cater to, I mean, my second grade teacher will come up here for her anniversary dinner. So
awesome.
I get that mix. And, you know, as we started thinking about the concept, that's a big story, but I wanted to show folks that East Tennessee and Sevier County can and does have some refinement about it. Everything that you may do, you know, obviously we know that the park is beautiful, but I wanted to show that there's a lot more culture here than just airbrush t-shirts and roller coasters.
Right.
Dollywood does an incredible job. It's still, you know, it's very much a theme park, and we wanted to show some refinement. So that's the reason we called this restaurant the Appalachian. It wasn't it's not necessarily saying like everything that we do is centered in Appalachian history. It's more contemporary than that. It's more about time and place now.
Right.
And it's very intentional when you walk in the front door of the restaurant that you're met by maybe what's expected in terms of behind the host stands covered in barnwood, and there's a mural on the left of a pasture scene. But after you walk past that, you come into a very refined, clean lines, brass accents, quartz white countertops. It's very intentional that we make people feel welcome with that when they walk in the door, but to come in and show that this is a restaurant that can rival some of the restaurants in some of the major cities around the country.
But it's also not so pretentious that it would, you know, maybe preclude someone from walking in the door.
Oh, for sure. That's always been...
Which is, I'm sure is part of the concept.
Absolutely. Right? You know, there's nothing that tickles me more than, you know, seeing a biker sitting next to a gentleman in a business suit at the bar.
Right.
Or even a family coming in from a water park, you know, in shorts and flip-flops to order a dry-aged steak off of the open hearth grill. You know what I mean? Like, there's no dress code, and we want to be open to everybody. So, yeah, we try to make sure that we ride that line.
Yeah, and look, I'm just going to tell you, the only reason why I didn't roll up in here with my three boys when we were in Wilderness in the Smokies is just because, right, wrong, or indifferent, it would have been lost on my 5-year-old.
Yeah,
right?
I understand.
Yeah, I mentioned the fried chicken skins. Happy to talk through some of what you think the highlights on the menu are, because we actually came here, Chrissy and I, my sister and I, brought my mom and dad and nephew here probably about a couple months ago. We came in to have dinner, and it was my first time here. And I was so excited because when you come with a big group, you could basically order not everything on the menu.
Right.
But I was like,
try a little bit.
Let's
of
not
everything.
all get the same thing, right? Let's shotgun this menu. Let's not go for the rifle approach. Let's shotgun. Let's spread it out, and let's try a lot. And so we did get to try the bone marrow. I'll just start with, like, of course you got to start with cocktails and beer. So you have a great craft beer menu selection. You have awesome craft cocktails. We just talked about the wall of bourbon, which I'll take a picture of this and post it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. There's a lot of really good stuff back there. But so we did the bone marrow appetizer. We did the butterbean hummus appetizer, and the fried chicken skins. I wanted to get the buffalo frog legs, but I didn't get any takers on that. So out of, like, what's your favorite appetizer on the menu?
I'd say they're probably those frog legs.
Really?
You know, the flavor's great on them, but really it's, you know, you went back, which you hit the nail on the head. Something that's very important to us is the story, focusing on value. You know, when people come out to eat in a restaurant like this, or especially when travelers are coming to town in Sevierville, they're looking for an experience. So to me, buffalo frog legs provide an amazing experience. There's the first part of people who are sometimes skeptical.
Sure.
And it's very intentional that we plate them and dress them the way that we do. They're reminiscent of a buffalo wing, to be a little bit more approachable. But it's a great conversation piece. And I love more than anything to watch people experiencing and trying new things and loving new things. That's what that dish provides. Yeah. Sure, it tastes good. That's kind of the part that has to be there, in my opinion. But it's a lot bigger than that.
I got to tell you, I'm a little bummed that you're closed on Mondays. I would definitely stick around.
I'll get you some
and give those a whirl. Absolutely, that is a very unique. But I haven't tried it, but I looked at the picture online or on the menu, and they do look very approachable, and they do look quite delicious.
Oh, they
and
are.
I will eat them at some point.
They are delicious.
Trust me. And so then when we got to the mains, again, we went around the table, and we all like fried chicken. I mean, we all love fried chicken. And even though we had the fried chicken skins, it's almost like you're doubling down on fried chicken. But I'm like, no. Because the fried chicken skins, it's almost like a potato chip of skin with the peppers and the honey, like the sweet and the heat. But so my nephew got the fried chicken. My dad got the duck. My mom got... Actually, the short rib, I believe not. Do you guys still have the short rib on the menu?
No, it's more of a colder weather.
Okay, colder weather.
So it moved out just a few weeks ago,
Okay.
as we started to warm up.
And because I had such a great meat experience with you, previously in Murrayville, I got the filet and went that route. And I know you have the burger and a couple other things on the menu, but like,
right.
what's your favorite main? If you're on the line, you're like, somebody orders this, you're like, hell yeah, I can't wait to throw this together.
So I'll say two things, if that's all right. So, our menu kind of has two different, very distinct sides. One is a la carte meat service that comes off of our 100% wood-burning hearth.
Can I ask you, what wood do you burn?
We burn hickory and oak. Hickory and
okay.
white oak.
It smells incredible when you walk in here.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
The one side is very much a la carte meat steakhouse style. And then the other side of the menu is more seasonally inspired. We print our menus every day, so we never say we never do big rollouts of here's our spring menu, here's our summer menu. It just always evolves.
So you literally print a menu every day?
Yeah, every day. They've got the dates on them and everything. So what happens is, as seasons change, like the hummus, for example, you'll have the summer vegetables right now, some of the, late spring, early summer vegetables, where we've still got some peas and things of that nature coming in. But like in the winter, you'll have root vegetables that are available. We'll have a lot of beets and turnips. So all those things just kind of evolve. But either way, on the other side of the menu, those are our composed dishes. And there's a couple staples there, but those have a tendency to change more than any, both the whole dish and ingredients in the dish. So on that menu, which I think you said your father had, the duck is kind of a staple on our menu. That is a dish that I've been playing with and tweaking for years. And then on the a la carte meat side, we have a dry-aged Kansas City strip that's not to be messed with. Coming off the wood with the age.
How many ounces is it, did you say?
It's 18. Yeah. 18 with the bone. And it's got about 45 to 60 days of dry age on it. So it's got enough going on. It's not like your real strong blue cheesy kind of flavor. It's got more right there in the middle. And we finish all of our steaks with a sea salt from J.Q. Dickinson Salt Works, which is it's in Charleston, West Virginia, where they pump salt water from an ancient ocean underneath the ground, and they do it the old-fashioned way. They've got the big evaporation beds, and funny story actually, not to segue, but in West Virginia, before the coal industry, salt was the big
I did not know
industry there. And this is the one lone company that's still kind of holding true to that tradition. It's pretty cool.
So they just have the rights to a secret underground ocean, and they farm sea salt.
Yeah, they just got a pump. It's I think it's 330 feet down where they're pumping out.
So you finish it with this special West Virginian.
Yeah, and it's got a nice crunch.
Huh. Well, look, I just made a mental note. I mean, I know the next time I come back here, because I'm all about, I love steak.
Yeah.
I like a lot of things, probably to a fault, but definitely, I mean, I love a good cut of meat.
Right.
The Kansas City strip sounds
man,
like it's really, well, you said don't even try to mess with it.
Yeah, I learned a lot about dry aging meat, and the cuts that have the most bone attached to it. So on that Kansas City, you've got you've got about 3/4 of the cut itself that's touching the bone. And from the bone is where you get a lot of that microbial stuff that goes on during the dry age process and gives it that flavor.
Nice. So I'm definitely getting that when I come back. I'm not even going to ask you what your favorite cocktail is, because it's pretty obvious to me by looking behind the bar. So looking at this menagerie of bourbon.
Yeah.
What is if you were going to pick anything off the shelf right now and pour yourself either something neat or with a rock. I don't know how you take it.
Mm-hmm.
What would it be and how would you serve it?
You know, that's a tough question. I have answers, and I might have multiple answers.
And it could
to
depend
that.
on your mood.
Yeah, and the occasion, the mood,
Okay.
all those sorts of things. So let me give you three.
Okay.
If that's all right. Let me start with the daily drinker.
I always say more is more.
Yeah. The daily drinker for me is Four Roses Single Barrel. To me, that's the highest quality, readily available bourbon on the market.
Just a solid table bourbon.
For sure.
Okay.
Every day.
And you drink it how? Just
neat.
Neat.
I do.
All right.
You know, I can walk into any liquor store and you can find a bottle of that.
Sure.
You know, where some of my other favorites are allocated. There's a relatively new one on the market, but it is distilled and barreled and bottled all in one facility. It's Green River. Green River is an old distillery. It was actually the original Ezra Brooks distillery. I think it was number 13. It was the 13th distillery in the state of Kentucky, legal distillery at least. They're producing a great product. So that's the one that I'm telling my friends about right now. In my opinion,
No, I've never heard of that. You said it's called Green River?
Green River. It's kind of there in the middle. That's the one that I'm telling my friends right now. Like, I think it's probably going to be allocated in 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
If it catches on, who knows? But then my special occasion bourbon, and maybe it just goes to my taste, is Elmer T. Lee. Several years ago, Elmer T. Lee to me was where Green River is now. Readily available, $30 a bottle. You can buy it by the case. I, as a restaurateur that sells a lot of spirits, can get about 4 bottles a year now, It's hot, it's got a nice cinnamon pepper note on the back end. It's not like the smoothest drinker out there.
Okay.
But to me, that's my special occasion bourbon for sure.
And I'm not knocking it, but just to hear you walk through those three, and I love how you did it. It's like, hey, here's my kind of like my everyday. Here's the one I'm telling my friends about. Here's my special occasion. I'm almost relieved. People can say whatever they want. I'm almost relieved you didn't say Pappy because everybody says Pappy. And I'm not knocking it. But
trust me, I had a bottle of 15 earlier this year, and it drinks great.
Sure.
It is great.
Yeah.
There's no knocking it.
Well, I just appreciate you mixing it up.
Right, yeah.
A couple other questions that I have. We just spent a lot of time on the Appalachian, but you do have these two other concepts that are right here in downtown Sevierville that you and Austin are partnered up on. So you have right next, well, not
2 doors down.
2 doors down is Trotter's Whole Hog.
Yep.
Tell me about Trotter's. What inspired that?
So the mainstay of Trotter's Whole Hog Barbecue is obviously the whole hog pulled pork. Mm-hmm. I fell in love with whole hog pulled pork and the process of cooking whole hogs many, many years ago. There's a difference there, in my opinion, in the quality and the textures and the.
Was there like a specific experience that got you interested in it, or a person, or just?
There's a couple. I would very rarely get the opportunity, but we would do some big parties where we'd stay up all night and we'd cook these whole hogs. Mm-hmm. It wasn't anything that I had done before or even researched. We just kind of went for it,
Yeah.
And not to mention we'd stay up all night. We might have a few drinks.
Sure. No, it's for 1 minute in college. Like my first, I graduated from LSU. But my lesser-known story is that my first year was at Clemson in South Carolina. And the fraternity I was in, there were 2 guys, Cliff and Brady, and they would do a pig picking at a tailgate once a year where I had no idea what it was all about, but they would roll out the smoker all night long, sit out there, and we'd just drink.
Right.
But so that's how you kind of got into it. It was
that was the first thing. And then when I was working as the butcher at Blackberry Farm, I had the opportunity to cook a pig with Rodney Scott. And that's where I saw the art, and the technique in it. How
did that opportunity happen? Like, was he in town?
So I can't remember the name. They called it something. But when there was a big fire and the smokehouse burned down at Scott's Barbecue in Hemingway, he went on a tour, kind of a marketing / fundraising tour. Don't quote me on that. But with John T. Edge. Throughout the South, and they were cooking pigs at all these different places. Okay. And one of their stops was at Blackberry. I had good friends with the grounds department at Blackberry, and they set up this smoker for him. So it was like I'd have to look at my notes. It's like 114 center blocks, some rebar, and some chicken wire.
It's like
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you got like two 50-gallon drums that are welded together, and that's your firebox. And he cooked this pig. I mean, it was a good-sized pig, but I mean, he cooked it low and slow for 18 hours.
Wow.
It was just persistent, And I just saw the art in it, in what he was doing. That really, I mean, I was at Home Depot like the next day buying center block.
Okay.
And I put one in my backyard.
Do you still keep up with him at all? Or
Yeah,
no?
a little bit. I mean, through social. And we were never buddies. I mean, that's my first full experience with Rodney. I guess I've met him a couple other times. But, I have, there's several heroes in the barbecue world. Kerry Bringle at Peg Leg Porker in Nashville. Pat Martin's out there. Scott's Barbecue. Zach Parker out in West Tennessee, out in Lexington. Those are kind of my heroes, we'll say, in terms of barbecue. And that's what inspired that. And high-quality barbecue just in general, I thought that there's a market for here.
Mm-hmm.
We have all the traditional thing. We've got ribs. We have great smoked wings. We do a tri-tip there, which is kind of our answer to folks who want brisket.
Right.
We're bound and determined to create a stamp on East Tennessee barbecue.
Love it.
And I love brisket, but
Me too.
What happens when people eat your brisket? They're like, "Yeah, this brisket's pretty good. Let me tell you about this brisket that I had in Texas." And it's
right.
So the tri-tip is our answer to those folks that want that brisket. And then all homemade sides: smoked potato salad, mac and cheese, slaw, collard greens, baked beans, and great banana pudding.
So what are the hours? The Appalachian is dinner only, right? Or
Yeah, the Appalachian's Tuesday through Saturday. The bar opens at 4. Our first dinner reservation is at 5.
But is Trotters open for lunch?
Trotters is. We're closed on Sunday evening and we're closed on Mondays. But we're lunch and dinner 11 to 8 Tuesday through Saturday, and we open from 11 to 2 on Sunday.
Nice. So then the third concept is the Pines.
The Pines, yeah.
So tell us about the Pines.
Yeah, so the Pines has a lot of historical significance to this downtown. The space itself, it's a large space, was originally opened as a Pines Theater in 1944. That theater served as more or less a concert hall. That's the first place that Dolly Parton ever performed professionally.
That's amazing.
She was, she was part of the Kaz Walker Traveling Road crew.
Road show. Yep.
Yeah, she came through there, and there's actually there's a Pines Theater at Dollywood.
So it's not that this is the first place she ever performed in Sevierville. This is the first time she ever got in front of a crowd.
Yeah, first paid gig.
And you have the building now.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. And, we wanted to pay homage to that. We didn't go back with a theater, but it's more of an entertainment hall, we like to call it. Just a place to go and have a good time. We've got 8 lanes of duck pin bowling, which is a lot of fun. We've got retro video games. We've got things like Giant Jenga, and we do trivia on Thursday nights. But it also serves as an event space as well. Corporate events, birthdays, retirement parties.
So people can rent out the whole place.
They can rent out the whole place. They can rent out portions. We have a mezzanine level that's very much banquet style. We've got a back room that's got 4 of the 8 duck pin bowling lanes that can be private and rented, and then folks can also rent out the whole place.
So if it's not rented out, so what are the hours for the Pine?
Tuesday through Sunday. We open at 5 o'clock Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then 4 o'clock Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay. And so it's full bar?
Yeah. Normal business hours and normal service outside of the events. Full bar and full kitchen.
Okay.
We have incredible pizza there. Nice. All very bar-friendly, shareable food. Pizza, burgers, Philly cheesesteaks.
Like a gastropub there.
Yeah.
Like it.
Wings and tots and, very fun, playful. Very much a family experience until it gets into the later hours at night, and it's a bar.
How late does it stay open?
Midnight.
So let me ask you this. You grew up in Tennessee. I know when we were originally trying to schedule this, you were, I think, going out of town on vacation, maybe around Memorial Day or a little before or a little after that. When you need a break, right, and you want to get the kids and the wife and wind down, where does David Rule like to go? Like, where do you like to relax?
On a whim, it's the mountains.
So still around Tennessee, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. We've got some spots, little honey holes that we like to go to and let the kids play in the creek. I mean, I did it 2 days ago. We stopped in Townsend. There's a great Gulf station in Townsend that serves slaw dogs. Normally we'll go and we'll cook and stuff, but we just had a big week, so we picked up slaw dogs at the Gulf station, bag of chips, and just went and sat by the creek, let the kids play, and just hang out, And especially when it's hot in the summer, go up there when it's cooler by the water. That's kind of my happy place.
Right.
Otherwise, for vacation's sake, it's the Gulf.
Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, St. George Island in particular.
No way.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah, I've been going there for over 20 years.
When was the last time you went?
Last year. We go about every, last week September, first week of October.
Yeah, so on Retire Southern, Southern Character is fueled by retiresouthern.com. I actually just wrote a series of articles called the Forgotten Coast series, and it's all about St. George Island, Cape San Blas, because we just discovered St. George about 2 years ago, but we love it.
It's incredible.
I mean, love it. It's cool that you like that. When you here's another Dave question. When you're inviting friends over, family for like a family gathering, and you're gonna cook a meal, hearkening back to the Mamaw big meals. If you're gonna do like a backyard barbecue or like a volunteer football Saturday, like what are you cooking for a crowd? Like everybody comes over to David Rule's house and kit. Like what's your thing?
Usually when my friends and family come over, they're my testers.
Okay.
I'm trying something new or something that's
You're going to
really,
bounce something off these people.
Yeah, something that's really interesting me at the time, so that if it doesn't turn out we're fine. Most recently I've been real into authentic Mexican cuisine.
Okay.
I've been trying to
Interesting.
I've been trying to perfect these dang tortillas, man. I've got a lady that works here with me. Her name's Eloisa.
Okay.
And she makes incredible Mexican food. I mean, I can't describe to you, just how. And she's like the den mother too. Like she keeps us well fed. But just something as simple and humble as the fresh tortilla and how to perfect it. I mean, it's literally, masa, water, and salt. I just can't crack it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and we do Taco Tuesday at Trotter's, where we just do like the pulled pork, and she's making the tortillas from scratch.
So she does the tortillas.
Yeah.
For Taco Tuesday.
Oh, and they're so good. But I'm sitting there, I'm watching her. I'm feeling her dough. I'm, checking the heat. But I just, she can do it like that. I mean, and I just haven't whooped it yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And,
Okay.
But aside from that, a lot of those flavors. But yeah, my family and friends are definitely the test crowd.
So, is there anything from the test crowd that ended up on the menu here or at Trotter's specifically yet, or is it still in beta phase?
I don't know about dishes in general, but definitely some of the flavors and techniques.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I still get into it. I had a big kick for years where it was just all things Asian. There's an Asian supermarket in Knoxville called Sunrise Market. And I literally, I do this for my birthday. I would go, because it's just what I wanted to do. I would go in this store for hours with Google Translator and just figure out what all this stuff was.
Oh, everything was.
And I would spend, maybe I would have a grocery cart full of stuff. I would spend maybe, $150 and just all these random ingredients that I would just go home and tinker with, So there were some of those things. It's like the use of potato starch, for example, fell into my cooking. Now, that's not a dish, but, for use in thickening or breading and stuff, I found that I like it for some things as opposed to things like cornstarch. So there are pieces that fall into some of the cooking that we do in the restaurants that come from that for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
You mentioned that the Pines, that was the original theater Dolly performed in. Does Dolly come hang out at the Pines and kick it with you? Does she come to the Appalachian? Does she come over to Trotter's? How often are you seeing Dolly around these parts?
Yeah, so she hasn't been to the Pines yet, but she's been to the Appalachian.
Are you trying to get her to the Lions?
I tried to get her the night that she was here at the Appalachian. I tried to get her to come over to the Pines.
Come on over.
Obviously, she's a very busy lady.
Sure. She's got a few things going on.
She is an incredible woman.
Yeah.
And when I had the opportunity to meet her, she was incredibly engaging.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to know about my past and how I became a chef and things of that nature. The Imagination Library office is just right across the street.
Okay.
She pops in there about once a month or so.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll catch sightings. We're not on first name basis, but I hope we are one day. Not yet, But she loves shrimp and grits. We had a shrimp and grits on the menu at that time, and she was very happy with that. But she talks a lot about going down to the courthouse as a kid with her dad and with her grandfather, and we're stone's throw from that as we sit right now.
But you guys will do, and if people are looking for the Appalachian, so your website is theappalachianrestaurant.com. Mm-hmm. You have an Instagram page, Eat Appalachian.
Eat Appalachian.
You have a Facebook page, The Appalachian. Mm-hmm. But you guys will do, so I follow Eat Appalachian on Instagram. I'm on both pages. But you guys will also do things like you'll do special events here
for sure,
right?
Yeah.
Whether it's like something special for Mother's Day, like what do you have something, any events coming up or any kind of like special experiences coming up in July or August that you want to share?
Yeah. So I'll give you a couple things. One, we're planning right now for late July for an event that is a fundraiser event for the Psalm Foundation.
Okay.
The Psalm Foundation is a nonprofit that raises funds that promotes sommelier training and just beverage service in general. They have sent so many hospitality professionals through sommelier certifications free of charge, which I think is a really noble cause. So we're going to roll out an awesome wine dinner in July. Myself and the other chefs are going to pair to those wines. So that's a lot of fun. And then in September, we're coming back with our second year of what we call the Stillwell Festival. Last year was our first time doing it, and we learned a lot. We're coming back bigger and better this year. So we're bringing in some of the best chefs in the region, some of the best breweries in the region. I think we're going to have some spirits in this year as well, and some great musicians. And the goal of it is to be a very collaborative experience, especially with the chefs.
Where is it held?
It's actually just right in front of the restaurant in the Sevierville Commons. So we closed down that parking lot, and we have the whole green space there. So we'll have samplings from all the different chefs, and a lot of these chefs are people that I know or have cooked with in the past. So, secretly for us behind it, it's an opportunity to come hang out and cook, drink good beer. But yeah, that's September the 7th, Stillwell Festival.
So is that a weekend event?
Yeah, it's a Saturday event. Tennessee plays NC State in a neutral territory. That's always something that we have to consider around here,
of course.
Where the Vols are playing.
Of course. So it's not a home game.
It's not a home game. I think they're playing in Charlotte. They're playing in a neutral site.
Right.
But yeah, we'll have the game on there and just pray for good weather.
I'll definitely mark that on the calendar. It sounds like a fun event.
Yeah.
Well, David, I know you got a life and you got stuff you need to do, but I absolutely appreciate the time that you spent with me this afternoon, and can't say it enough. Encourage anyone to come check out any of David's concepts. I don't think you're going to walk away disappointed.
Yeah, we hope not.
So did you initiate the Stillwater Festival? Was that kind of your...
Stillwell, yeah.
Stillwell, excuse me.
Yeah. I just wanted to do something for downtown. Like I said, an opportunity to bring together some of my favorite breweries and favorite chefs.
Yeah.
I'll tell you real quick, a lot of people ask me where this name Stillwell comes from, because apparently it exists in a few other places. But as a young line cook, I had another cook friend. As you may or may not know, it's polite when you're in a kitchen and you walk behind somebody to say behind you, right behind you,
right,
whatever. Well, there's a scene from the movie Tombstone at the very end.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Keep going.
At the very end, where the Earps are on the train, the cowboys come to the train station to make sure that all the Earps are leaving Tombstone.
Town. Yep.
the one cowboy's looking around and he says, "Where's Wyatt? Where's Wyatt?" And he says, "Right behind you, Stillwell." And he kicks him and he shoots him, and then he proceeds to say, "You tell him I'm coming and hell's coming with me."
Great scene.
So
Great movie.
my chef friend, he would always say, "Right behind you, Stillwell," as he was coming down the line. And we've always said that throughout the years.
Okay.
So as we were trying to name this thing, I think it was Derek actually walked down the
Derek.
line. Derek was like, "Right behind you, Stillwell,"
Okay.
because he's, we've been cooking together 16 years.
Okay.
Like we're from the same school. And I was like, "Stillwell, that'd make a good name for a festival."
That's hilarious.
So,
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, look, I'm not gonna pull out my phone right now, but I'm gonna check my calendar, and if it's a weekend, I don't know why not.
You should come.
I will be. You might see me floating around the Stillwell Festival.
Cool.
And looking forward to it, man. Thank you so much again for being on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.